Here are 5 ways to get your power back as a Christian man. My name is Skylar Lewis, and this is the Christian Business Mentor Podcast. Let's dive in. So what is the definition of power? It's the ability to influence the people and the circumstances around you. Power leads to success. Power leads to influence. However, power has gotten a bad rep. And so, should you be pursuing power as a Christian man? And what has maybe taken your power, your ability to influence, your ability to create results in your life? I was watching a movie on Napoleon. Napoleon was a man of power. He scaled very quickly and grew in stature and was a conqueror at the highest level. Troops followed him. People followed him. He was a man of tremendous influence. Yet, there was a point in his life where he decided there was a specific battle. He went and tried to conquer Russia. And even though the circumstances were extreme, he should not have done it. He went all in, lost half of his troops, killed millions of men, and he started to fall from his position of power, all because he was pursuing power. He was pursuing success. He was looking to do it for his own internal aim and significance. Gentlemen, power is necessary. Women, power is necessary if you want to create results in life. It is 100% necessary. However, your power must come from God. There's a verse, 2 Timothy 1:7. For the Lord does not give us a spirit of timidity, but of power, love, and self-discipline, or a sound mind. Power. Ephesians 6:10. Be strong in the Lord and in his mighty power. Our strength is rooted in the Lord's mighty power. So our power comes from God, yet there are so many men who are operating not in power. And what is the antonym of power? It is weakness and impotence, the inability to influence people and circumstances. So when you're a man of power, you actually have the ability to not only influence people in a good way or a bad way, you have the ability to influence entire circumstances. You are not a victim to the world. So what happens though is as you lose your power, you become a victim to the world. The world happens to you. Life circumstances happen to you. Your marriage is happening to you. Your business is happening to you. But the more power you gain, the more of an ability you have to influence and shift entire life and world circumstances. A position, our president of the United States, he has tremendous power. He can shift entire world circumstances. So what happens is the more you gain in power, the more your influence increases, your platform increases, your ability to be known as a man or a woman of power increases, and therefore your power starts to become exponential. Now, we must make sure that our power is rooted in God and our aim is accurate. And I'm going to talk about how to gain and how to step into another level of power and what things may be sucking your power. I hope you're enjoying this video. I'm the founder of Rise Up Kings, the largest faith-based personal development organization in the country. And it's our mission to reach as many people as possible to help them live lives of excellence, all to glorify God. We do this through our content that you're watching now. We do this through our seminars. So if you're enjoying this, please subscribe and share. Let's get back to the video. Let's use an example of a powerful man or woman. So Mother Teresa, right? We think of a powerful person as only this physically powerful person, but Mother Teresa had tremendous influence and impact on this world. She was a woman of power. And so as Christians, right, the goal is not to run away from power, but man, we got to step into power, step into influence, step into impact. And your ability to do that is directly relates to how much results you produce in your life. Okay, so what gives a man power? Number 1 is faithfulness in Christ. Faith versus fear. Trusting in the Lord and making him your top priority is a way that you can tap into a whole nother level of power. Fear is the thing that will kill your power. Being fearful of circumstances, being a victim to circumstances. So trusting in the Lord and trusting that he is directing your path. Number 2 is being a man of integrity, sticking with your commitments. If you're breaking your commitments, right, you're breaking your word, that's how you lose power. Men and women of power, they're men and women of their word. The word, your word, is powerful, or it's lacking power. Is your word powerful when you make a commitment? Do life circumstances move so that you can follow through with that commitment? Or do you make a commitment like, hey, I'm going to work out every day, and then life circumstances happen to you? You get hurt, you get sick, you get busy, business challenges. So are you a man of power where when you commit to something, no matter what, you make it happen? So being a man of your word, being a man of integrity or a woman of integrity. Number 3 is a man who provides value. So men who just take, they take in this world, they're constantly needy, they suck value from other people. Those men are not typically elevated. So what happens is the more value that you provide to this world, the more of an impact you make, the better you make people feel, the more of an impact you can make in ministry, in business. What happens is women start to elevate you. So as opposed to you having to elevate yourself, as you step into another level of power, you naturally become elevated by other people that you are providing value for. Number 4 is being a man of responsibility. So the realization that you are in control of your world, you dictate your world, which is dictated by God. So if you are following Christ, right, God is influencing the way that you operate. And so when you realize you have a very high level of responsibility for everything that happens in your life, you are not the victim to life. And so victimization, men or women that feel like life is happening to them, they are powerless to life. But when you have a high level of responsibility, you realize that, hey, I'm responsible for the results in my life with God's blessing and his provision, but really I have a high level of responsibility. That belief that you are responsible for your life, all the results, whether good or bad in your life right now, are from your decisions and your thinking, right? When you believe that at a high level, you will start to step into a whole new level of power. And number 5 is being a man of strategy. Strategy leads to winning. The more strategic you are, the more effective you can become. And again, strategy without God leads to losses. So when you're strategic, but you don't have God guiding your life, that will lead to an arrogant life, a life of pride, which eventually will lead to destruction. So you must have God as your number 1 priority, and you add strategy on top of that. That leads to effectiveness. That leads to results, and those results lead to influence. And they lead to building your confidence and building your self-esteem, which leads to more power. So those are 5 ways, 5 specific things that you can start to work on to become a man or a woman of power. And I want to share with you what destroys your power. Here are 4 specific things that can destroy your power, and these are also tied into what gives you power. Number 1 is breaking commitments. I won't cover that. We talked about that. Number 2 is pride. So pride comes before the fall. So when Napoleon started to have significant wins, his pride increased. And as his pride increased, destruction soon followed. So pride leads to casualties. Pride leads to death. So avoid pride at all costs. Number 3 is selfish ambition. This is tied to James 3:16, for where you have envy and selfish ambition, that will lead to chaos and disorder and every evil practice. So James 3:16 talks about selfish ambition. If your ambition is to serve yourself with the power that God has given you, that will lead to destruction. That will lead to disorder. That will lead to chaos and every evil practice. So it's critical that your ambition is not for yourself. Your ambition is for the kingdom and people around you. And yes, you will be most likely be blessed on that journey, but make yourself not the number 1 priority. And number 4 is bitterness. If bitterness or resentment is showing up in your life, if there is unforgiveness in your life, that zaps power. That will take power from you, and you will become an impotent or a weak person. And so learning to forgive and to release and to have an open grip in life, have a loose grip, will support you on not losing the power that God has available for you. Because this power comes from God. It's available to you from God, yet there are things you are doing and ways that you are showing up in life that are subtracting, that are detracting, that are creating ineffectiveness in your ability to utilize power on a regular basis. Why do we have power? Our power comes from God to glorify Him, to expand the kingdom, to bring goodness here on earth, right? And that goodness can show up as building a successful company, as leading men and women effectively, as mentoring other human beings, making this world a better place, glorifying God. Your power is not for you. Your power is to glorify God in everything that you do. And what's amazing is the more power that you step into, the more influence you have, and the more positive impact you can have on this world. And that's been my experience. The more power that I've stepped into, the more positive impact I've had on this world, and the more people actually come to Christ. So I want to challenge you. Step into your power. Lean into God for your power. And when I say your power, it's the power that comes from Him. God is the source of all power. So what happens is, right, you have all these tools. You have all these tools, you know how to do things, you have all of these things, but if they're not plugged in, they're powerless. Right? So all this personal development you're working on, all of trying to improve yourself, all this stuff, all these tools are powerless when they are not plugged in to the source. Stay connected.